Attention hockey influencers on YouTube. This is why you cannot get a part of any product, test it for 3 minutes after getting it brand new, and then pretend to post a review that's any value to the consumer. As you can see, this CF100 helmet is having some problems. I've had this for a little while now, and I always test products for a longer term just in case stuff like this shows up. So obviously there's an adhesive problem here, not a huge deal, but this is the reason that you always do as much as you can with the product so you can give an actual review later. What's going on, you guys? Justin, aka Boomer, Beer League Bum Hockey Reviews, and today we are talking about the CF100 helmet from Warrior. I've been wearing this for quite some time now, and as you see in the introduction, had a little bit of adhesive issue on one of the pads inside, sprayed it, threw it back in there, called it a day. But this is my biggest gripe with hockey YouTube, is people are grabbing sticks, equipment, whatever they're getting from the manufacturers, they're jumping on the ice with it and then talking about things like, oh, it's durable, oh, it's a great stick. There's no long-term discussion here, guys. You gotta test products longer than that. You cannot just throw it on and give her a go and post a review. Just doesn't work. All right, guys, so when it comes to helmets, you know, I've had a Hyperlight, I've had a SuperTax, I've had this, I've had Bauer Reacts in the past, and generally speaking, helmets are a challenge. The first reason is that helmets have a rating with the Virginia Tech Institute, and generally speaking, that's probably important if you're playing a hitting game, but for us beer leaguers, it's really more about comfort, you know, and the odds of you smacking your head on the ice and causing any damage with a top-of-the-line helmet is pretty small. So when it comes to the current helmet rankings that I have, I was a huge fan of the SuperTax and the SuperTax X because of the Nestec. It was extremely comfortable. I was not a fan of the Hyperlight. It was very uncomfortable, although very light. And now I have the CF100. And as you can see, it has some really interesting attributes to it. But we're going to get into that first by starting with the video of them baking the internals of this helmet. So interesting enough here, guys, I was one of the first people to actually buy this helmet from the hockey shop in Surrey at the time. It was a couple months back, I think. And they weren't 100% sure what to do, so we threw them into the skate oven, baked them for a few minutes, and ended up fitting the helmet right after. So the one thing that you really need to make sure of is if you're the person grabbing this helmet, make sure they know what they're doing in terms of baking it, because I'm not sure how much this really helped. With that being said, it could be the reason that maybe this doesn't mold as well as that you think it might, but also the foams are not very thick. They're only about 1/4 of an inch, and I just don't see how you're going to get crazy indents and stuff to your head shape by baking this foam right now. So the idea here, guys, is these two orange pieces here, there's a bigger one and a smaller one, big, small, is they throw those in the skate oven and they're supposed to kind of mold to your head. Now, these are actually really nice and comfy. They're squishy little foams. But here's the thing. I really don't see how this can mold to your head that much. You really don't see any shape to this at all. And there is no like creases or anything from how my head was after it was clamped down. And I don't think the foam is dense enough or has enough mold to it to really change the shape. So, you know, after kind of wearing it for quite some time, my biggest gripe is that the gimmick with this didn't really work. And that's unfortunate because it's a really cool concept. And this helmet was $200 in comparison to the SuperTax X, which is $400 if we're talking Canadian here. You can adjust for US, but this is a really nice option in terms of comfort in comparison to the SuperTax. But unfortunately, the gimmick here didn't really work. So a little bit disappointed in that regard, but let's talk about the actual comfort of the helmet after the break-in period. So in the helmet, you can remove the little baked pieces, and there's actually some little circles in there. You may or may not be able to see it. And those are actually Velcro. So the back of the little helmet piece has a little bit of a felt to it, and it sticks in there pretty easily. And you can get it in and out if you want, which is cool. And it fits right in there. And super easy. It's just back in, doesn't move or anything like that, which is excellent. So the comfort of this helmet is actually really good. And the reason that I like it is these two big foam pieces, although they don't mold to your head per se, they're still extremely comfortable. And this helmet is kind of the top one for me that isn't the tax when you compare it to, say, Bauer's current offerings in the Hyperlight and the React. I have not tested the React 85 yet. I might pick that up here soon. But if you're talking about actual rankings right now and say the top helmets from those three that I've tried, you got the Tax X, you got the Warrior CF100, then you kind of have like the Hyperlight and the IMS and all that type of stuff. So this Warrior CF100 is a really comfortable helmet, and I really actually like it. So check that out. That's from the stick. Got just absolutely chopped in that video. Mouth guard, excellent, held its own, no teeth loss. Basically just a giant cut, bled over the ice type of thing. But everybody always like, wear a cage if you want full safety and all that. And they're right. I just rock a mouth guard and a visor like I do here. So getting back to the helmet, which for protection purposes, I have not hit my head on the ice. I don't plan on testing it in that regard. That's kind of why that Virginia Tech stuff exists, is you can look at those ratings if you want to. From me as a beer leaguer, the CF100 helmet is actually really nice. It's comfortable. It fits really well. I really like how it works. You know, it's not as expensive as the Tax X, which is kind of ridiculous for most people. So overall, this is a great option, and I think it's better than the Hyperlight. So it's a really nice happy medium to get sort of like, Tax X sort of nice comfort, but not 100%, but not like crazy uncomfortable like the Hyperlight. I felt like the way the Hyperlight fit, it was really odd, and I just didn't like it. So for the current offerings on the helmet market, I'm going to go pick up a React 85 pretty quick, but I will say I recommend the CF100, despite, unfortunately, the two things in terms of the gimmick of baking didn't really work, and it didn't really change the shape or anything, but the foam is comfortable enough that actually didn't matter. So it's still very, very comfortable and very supportive, and I have a really nice fit because of it. And unfortunately, the adhesive did kind of wear out, and I had to spray that and put it back on. But that's a minor one compared to the actual foam. So I think this is a really, really good concept. And I think that if they do something now in the future with it, they might just nail this by just maybe thickening up the foam a little bit and tweaking with that so it actually kind of molds a little bit. And I think it will be a really, really excellent helmet for the next generation. But for now, it's a really comfortable helmet. I like it. Nice job, Warrior. Anyways, guys, I know that's a quick one. Thanks for watching. Lots more to come. See you next time.